All right, strap in, everyone. We're going deep on a game you got to talk about. Senators and Wild, February 1st. We've got the summaries. Yeah, we got some spicy post-game quotes and honestly, some head-scratching moments for sure.
Definitely a game where, the box score doesn't tell the whole story.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you see a 6-0 final, Senators shutout, Maryland gets his third of the season. Looks pretty straightforward. Remember,
Easy win, you'd think. Except the Wild, they had this crazy good road record coming in.
exactly, and that's what makes this one so interesting. You almost got to rewind to the second period to see where things really went off the rails.
Oh, absolutely. Ryan Hartman ejected. Doesn't happen every game.
Right, and it wasn't just your typical, tempers flare kind of ejection. This was like intent to injure. Shoving Stutzle at the face-off, then driving his head into the ice. Refs reviewed it, slapped him with a 5-minute major, the whole 9 yards.
And Stutzle, man, ends up with a gash over his eye, blood drying down his face. You could just feel the intensity.
Yeah, and the weirdest part, post-game, Stutzle says he didn't even see it coming, just felt the impact. Adds a whole other layer to it.
So here's the thing. Senators are already up 3-0 at this point. You'd think, all right, maybe ease off the gas a little. Not a chance.
Nope. Instead, it's like they said, all right, you want to play that way? We'll show you how to use a power play.
Yeah.
Less than a minute in, Jake Sanderson, who ends up having a career night with 4 points, just rips one in from the slot.
Crowd goes wild. And before they've even finished celebrating that goal, boom, 59 seconds later.
Brady Tarkett chuck another one. You could practically feel the energy shift in that arena.
Like, you see that in hockey sometimes, right? Team gets a spark, whether it's a big hit, a bad call, whatever, and suddenly their passing is crisper, they're winning every battle. Wild looked lost out there.
Completely disorganized.
Yep.
Senators just kept coming. And as if 2 goals weren't enough, the Wild take another penalty.
Oh, man, that's gotta hurt. Giving the Sens a 2-man advantage, and who steps up? Drake Batherson.
Yeah.
Snaps his 11-game scoreless streak right there on the power play.
Talk about a momentum swing. You got to wonder, did the Wild underestimate the Senators' fire? They came in with that stellar road record. Maybe you thought it'd be a walk in the park.
Yeah, maybe. But those post-game comments from Coach Smith, he talked about how important it was to respond that way. He kept saying businesslike, but those celebrations after the goals, that wasn't just business, that was emotion.
For sure. Senators hadn't scored in their previous 2 games coming into this one. They were hungry. You could see it.
Oh, yeah. That hunger was palpable. From the drop of the puck, they were playing with an intensity the Wild just couldn't match. Okay, but gotta be fair. Let's look at the Wild side. Matt Zuccarello, always straight shooter, called it not even close, not good enough. Said he hadn't seen him play that poorly in a long time.
Interesting. So maybe it wasn't just the penalty, right? It sounds like they were off their game from the start.
Right. It's like that penalty was the turning point. Yeah, but it was almost like they were already kind of deflated,
Yeah,
and then that just made it worse.
could be. Happens to the best of them, Get frustrated, a bad call, a few unlucky bounces, suddenly you're chasing the game. Senators, though, they had that mental toughness, shook it off, kept pushing.
But even so, you got to give the Sens credit. They didn't just watch the Wild implode, they took advantage. Aggressive, creative, they wanted that win.
And they got it.
Yeah.
This win actually capped off a 4-0 homestand for them. 16 goals scored over those 4 games. Talk about a turnaround from those shutouts.
Crazy, right? And that win puts them in a good spot overall. 60 points, only 5 behind Florida, who are leading the Atlantic.
But don't forget, Sens have a game in hand on them. Makes that matchup next week even more interesting.
Oh, absolutely. We got the Sens riding high after this win, showing they can handle pressure. And then you got Florida, top of the division, ready to make a statement. Plus, Florida will be looking for revenge. They lost to the Sens earlier in the season.
Oh, that's right. Adds another layer of intrigue to this matchup for sure. It's not just about 2 teams battling for position. It's about pride, redemption.
It's going to be electric. And remember, Josh Norris had to leave in the third, didn't return.
Yeah, what was that about? Any update?
No word from Coach Smith after the game. So we're all wondering, how bad is it? And, with that Panthers game looming.
Big question mark. Norris has been a key part of their offense this season.
Absolutely. So leaving part 1 of this deep dive, I'm kind of stuck on a few things. Did the Wild really underestimate the Senators? Or were the Sens just playing out of their minds? And then how does this win, and maybe losing Norris, how does that impact things against Florida? We're about to find out.
It's tough to say, really. I think you got to give the Senators credit. They were ready to play. The hunger you talked about, it was real. Wild might have come in a little too confident after all those road wins. maybe thought they had this one in the bag.
And that penalty, maybe it wasn't the only reason they lost, but it definitely didn't help. I mean, Zuccarello's right. Their whole game was off. It's almost like they just gave up a bit after that penalty.
Happens sometimes, It's a mental thing. One bad call, a couple bad bounces, and boom, all that frustration just takes over. Senators, though, they didn't let that happen to them. They took that energy and turned it into something positive.
Right, right. Like, they could have easily gotten caught up in the whole drama of it all, but they didn't. They just kept their heads down and kept playing. That's got to be frustrating to play against, You're already down, then you get a bad call, and the other team just feeds off of it.
Yeah, for sure. And it wasn't just that they were feeding off the energy. They were making smart plays, Those power play goals weren't just lucky bounces. They were set up perfectly.
Yeah, they were clicking on all cylinders. But, okay, looking ahead to this Florida matchup, they're a different beast. Do you think the Sens can bring that same intensity? I mean, Florida's going to be coming in with a chip on their shoulder after that earlier loss.
It's hard to predict.
Sure.
I mean, the Panthers are leading the Atlantic for a reason, right? They're a tough team to beat, especially at home.
Yeah, and they'll want revenge. They're not going to let the Senators walk all over them like they did the Wild.
Exactly. So you've got the Sens riding high after this big win, and the Panthers wanting to prove a point. It's going to be a clash of styles for sure.
And then, of course, we got to factor in the whole Josh Norris situation. Still no update on his injury. If he's out for a while, that's a big blow to their offense.
No doubt. He's been one of their most consistent scorers this season.
Yeah.
They'll need someone to step up in a big way if he's out for an extended period.
Especially with a game against Florida coming up. Talk about pressure,
Sure.
But that's what makes it so exciting, right? You never know what's going to happen. That unpredictability, that's what keeps us coming back for more.
Absolutely. And, thinking about this Senators Wild game, it really highlights just how important the mental side of hockey is. I mean, you've got the physical skills, the strategy, all that. But when a team can harness their emotions, whether it's frustration or excitement or whatever, that's when they become truly dangerous.
It's like you can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't control your emotions, you're not going to win consistently. Look at the Senators. They took that negative energy from the Hartman penalty and turned it into fuel. That's a powerful thing.
You said it. And that's something we can all learn from,
Yeah.
not just in hockey, but in life too. When we're faced with a challenge, how do we respond?
Yeah.
Do we let it get us down, or do we find a way to use it to our advantage?
That's a great point. It's all about perspective, right? Finding the opportunity in the obstacle. But hey, we need to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be digging even deeper into the X's and O's of this Senators Wild game and what it might mean for the Sens going forward. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the big picture stuff, but let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What were some of those, tactical things that the Senators did so well in this game?
Well, one thing that really impressed me was their puck movement, especially on the power play. They were so crisp, so decisive, and they were always looking for that killer pass,
Yeah, it was like they knew exactly where everyone was going to be. Like they could anticipate each other's moves.
Exactly. And they were so aggressive, always attacking the net. They didn't give the Wild a chance to breathe.
And Marilinen, gotta give him credit. A shutout against a team like the Wild, that's impressive.
Oh, absolutely. He was a brick wall back there. Made some huge saves, especially early on. That really helped the Senators settle in and build that lead.
It's funny how sometimes the goalie can be the unsung hero, Everyone remembers the goals, the big hits, but if you don't have a solid goalie, none of that matters.
Yeah, the goalie can really set the tone for the whole team. In this case, Marilinen gave the Senators that confidence to just go out there and play their game.
So looking ahead to Florida, what do the Sens need to do to replicate this success? I mean, Florida's a whole different animal.
Well, they can't afford to let up on the intensity. The Panthers are a fast, skilled team. They'll capitalize on any mistakes.
And then there's the whole Josh Norris thing. We still don't know how serious his injury is. If he's out for a while, that's a big loss.
Huge. He's a key part of their offense. But hey, maybe this is a chance for someone else to step up,
I love those underdog stories. The guy who comes out of nowhere and becomes the hero. You got to believe that someone on that team is ready to seize the moment.
Right. It's all about opportunity. And this Senators team, they seem to thrive on those moments. They've shown they can handle pressure, they can adapt. It's going to be interesting to see how they respond to this challenge.
Yeah, this whole thing just goes to show you, in hockey, anything can happen. You can have the best record, the best players, but on any given night, anything is possible.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so exciting. It's not just about the X's and O's. It's about the human element, the emotions, the unexpected. And this Senators Wild game, it had all of that. It was a reminder that in hockey and in life, you got to be ready for anything. And sometimes those unexpected moments, those challenges, Those are the things that can really push you to be your best. That's something to think about, isn't it? How do we respond to those curveballs that life throws our way? Do we let them knock us down? Or do we use them as fuel to come back stronger? It's a choice we all have to make. And I think deep down, we all want to be like those senators. We want to be able to face our challenges head on and come out on top. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, folks. We'll catch you next time.